Hey, what's up, guys? Um, I was thinking about what kind of video I can make, and I've been thinking about, how to draw a holster or a pistol, safely without endangering yourself or whatever. Um, and I started thinking a little bit more about, whenever I was first teaching Raj a lot of stuff on how to manipulate the gun and everything else, and kind of, um, some of the struggles that she had and that I had myself as well whenever I first started. Um, they seem to be kind of universal with everybody. Everybody seems to have the same kind of struggles with operating a gun at first. Um, once you get over it, and Raj has too, now she can, run the slide real easily and reload, and she knows all the buttons and everything. She knows how to point. She does really good. But I know the journey to get there, and I know that a lot of people who just start out, and again, I don't know everybody's level with guns. I don't know their understanding. I don't know how long they've been shooting, or how much. It's not really necessarily about how long, it's how much and how often you've shot. Um, but it's kind of the same for everybody. So I thought maybe I would go over some of the real simple, very basic mechanics of how to operate a pistol easily and not have to struggle with it. A lot of this stuff is all technique and it's not strength. I hear a lot of people say, well, my wife just can't, they'll buy her a revolver, they'll buy her a 6-shot wheel gun because she's not strong enough to rack the slide on a pistol. Um, it's just not true. It's not true. You are absolutely strong enough. It's just about how you do it. So I'll show you, and I'll show you the different buttons and stuff on a pistol, how to operate and manipulate this gun easily and safely without standing there on the line, kind of in front of everybody, like struggling with it and trying to fight with it. So I'll kind of show you this stuff real quick. So I'm going to use my Glock just as an example, or one of the examples. First thing, before I even get into how to do this stuff, I want to show you how to properly clear a pistol, so that everyone around you, including the teacher and the range Nazis that walk around, the little safety Nazis that walk around and yell at people for not being safe with their guns, even they will be satisfied with it, okay? And it's real simple. So to do this, I know this is in my house, but I'm in the basement, and I'm confident enough to be safe still, but this is a loaded magazine, obviously, right? This gun is not loaded. It is empty, right? So, how do we properly clear our gun in a range environment where people are around us and be safe and make everybody happy and feel all warm and fuzzy inside, right? How do we do that? So, I have a loaded gun. There's one in the chamber, okay? This is now a dangerous gun. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the gun, and right here is a magazine release, which I will go more into detail about this, but I'm going to get rid of the magazine, right? Throw it on the table or whatever, set it down. Now I have a bullet in the chamber. I'm going to get rid of the bullet. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide, or, pull the slide back into slide lock. It's called slide lock, where it's open like this. I'm going to physically, this is important, I'm going to physically look into the chamber of my gun. Where I'm looking is right here in the barrel, basically. Now, this is something that I have kind of struggled with other people. I have seen negligent discharges because of this, okay? I have heard a lot of people say that whenever they're looking inside their gun to make sure that it's clear, they're looking for brass. They say, what are you looking for? I'm looking for brass, right? That what they mean is they're looking to make sure that there's no brass in the gun. I disagree. I think that's not very smart. And I've seen the repercussions of that. Okay, so what we are actually looking for when we look inside this gun is we're looking for an empty chamber. We're not looking for brass, okay? Because what happens is when your mental habit over and over and over again, I'm looking for brass, looking for brass, looking for brass. Is there brass in there? Yeah, there is brass in there. And your brain says, okay, there's brass in there, we're good to go. Because you're looking for brass. You see what I'm saying? And then you just load that bitch up, and it's a loaded gun. It's got a bullet in it, and you don't think it is, and you end up having a negligent discharge and shooting the floor, or shooting the ceiling, or something stupid like that, looking like an idiot. So don't do that. What we're looking for is an empty chamber every time. Empty chamber, empty chamber. To verify that, I stick my finger. Now this isn't slide lock. This isn't going anywhere as long as you don't push any buttons on here. And I feel the empty chamber, right? I can feel there's a hole there. There's nothing in there. This is a safe gun. I'm looking, empty chamber. Empty chamber. Not brass, empty chamber, right? Gun is safe. Now, you will have a holster with you, right? This gun, in this condition, with the slide locked to the rear, will fit just fine inside your holster. You're not going to get any more safe than that. And everybody around you can see that this gun is safe. Not only is it in the holster, so the trigger guard is covered, but the slide is locked to the rear, showing everyone that you got daylight running through your gun. There's nothing there, okay? That is what you will probably be asked to do in the class in order to ensure that your gun is safe. That's like the most polite way. That's the best range etiquette for people who don't know your ability in shooting. Keep the thing unloaded, lock the slide to the rear, check to make sure make sure you have an empty chamber. That's what we're looking for. Empty chamber, we're not looking for brass. Clear gun, holster it with the slide locked to the rear. That's how you do it. Okay, so now how do you do that? So, the biggest problem that I see with people, especially women, and you'd be surprised, a lot of men too. I've had problems with this whenever I first started as well. So is how do I rack this slide, right? A lot of people try to muscle through it, and I think it's hard. If you try to do that, I mean, like I'm shaking trying to do that. You don't have to do that. What it is you have a big spring going through this gun, and that's all you have to defeat. That spring is only like 3 or 4 pounds, that's it. It's not, whenever you go slow and you muscle through it, it feels a lot heavier than what it really is. So the whole trick to doing that is to use the momentum of the spring to let the gun do its job. You're just helping it, but you just let the gun do the rest of it, right? So to do that, what you do is, obviously, a correct, proper grip on your pistol, finger up high always, never in the trigger guard, and I'm going to grab the back of this gun. Now, where do I grab it? I usually try to focus on the rear sight, but if you can see the stippling in my gun right here, that's what that's for. It's for you to be able to monkey grab this gun. What you don't want to do is grab it way up high and put your fingers right up here in this chamber, because when you open this up, your fingers will fall down in that chamber and you'll get pinched really bad. You'll probably bleed all over the place. So you don't want to do that. You want to grab the gun back here, and what you're doing is, with this hand, gripping the pistol, you're pushing with this hand, right? And you're pulling with this hand. And you're using momentum to let this spring operate how it's meant to operate. And once you get to the rear, you just let it go. Just let it go. Just zip it back, let it go. And that spring will zip forward and pull that bullet right back into the chamber again. What you don't want to do is assist it. You don't want to do one of those, because there's not enough momentum and speed to grab that bullet and slam it up into the chamber like this gun was meant to operate. These things are meant to be, you're not supposed to be easy with these guns. You're supposed to beat the shit out of them, to be honest with you. So that's how they operate. Zip it back and let it go, and let all that momentum throw that bullet back into the chamber. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to go off or anything like that. So don't be afraid of it. Just be aggressive, grab a hold of it, push with this hand, pull with this hand, and let that slide zip back and forth, okay? The other way that you can do it is, if you're at the range, I'll actually go this way so that you can see better. When you're at the range and you're ready to load your gun, what you don't want to do is turn your gun sideways like this and try to grab a hold of it and rip it this way, because you're on a firing line. Somebody's standing right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this. Now JoJo's pointing a gun at Jimmy, right? You don't want to do that. So always keep it this way. Always keep your muzzle downrange. But what you can do is turn it this way, right? Now when it's turned this way, I can grab a hold of it here, real tight. Grab it right here. Again, staying away from this chamber, this opening. I'm grabbing it back here, and I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm pushing with this hand, and I'm pulling with this hand. And you use momentum of the spring to zip the slide back and forth, okay? So you're using, let the gun do all the heavy work. You don't have to do it. You just have to start it, and then it just kind of goes on its own, right? So that's how you rack the slide. The other thing that I want to point out is, I'm right-handed. This is a right-handed gun, obviously. The magazine release. Now, this is a really small magazine release on these guns. Some of them, if you look at my other gun, some of them are a lot bigger. They're like really big levers up here. But this is kind of better to show you because it doesn't really give you as many options. It's not as easy to reach, right? So if you do have a hard time reaching it, this is a good example. So what you do, where's my mag? There it is. So again, empty chamber, right? You can see I'm not looking for brass, I'm looking for an empty chamber. So I know this is a loaded magazine. I'm going to insert the magazine. Now, this slide release. If I can't reach this slide release with my thumb up here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cant the gun sideways, just a little bit, just cant it sideways, and now I have all the room in the world to reach this magazine release, which the magazine should just fall right out as soon as you push that button, right? So if I can't reach it up here, it's a little bit too far, just cant the gun. Beep, just push that mag release, magazine will just fall out. Easy. And drop it like an idiot because I'm not paying attention. That's how you do it. You just cant the gun sideways, push that magazine release, and again, always remember, we were keeping our muzzle downrange. We're pointing it at the target. We're not pointing it at Jimmy, right? So that's what we're doing. So now, since that's magazine release, that's how you run the slide. The next thing that I want to show you is the slide lock. This little lever right here. So, you see this lever goes up and down, and this lever goes in and out, in and out. This goes up and down, right? So if you look at this real close, you see the little sharp edges right here on this thing, and as it goes up, it kind of makes contact with the slide up here. This is the slide, this is the frame. These are the two different components, main components of your pistol. So this sits on the frame, and when you push it up, see how it makes contact with that slide? Well, if you look over here, right here, you see this big cutout in the slide right there with that little lip? There you go. That's what it's for. So whenever I pull this thing back, if I can do this in the camera where you can see it with the light, see how it is now? If I pull it back, now what I'm doing is I'm lifting this up with my thumb and I'm holding it up. Just holding it up, right? I'm not letting it fall, I'm just holding it up to where it's touching the slide. Now I'll pull the slide back. See how it caught on that little lip right there? That's what it does. That's the slide lock. So it just sits like that. Now, to release the slide lock, I can do one of two things. I can either grab a hold of it up here and push it down so that it stops making contact and goes down towards the frame again. That'll send the slide back home. Or what you'll see a lot of people do, and this is usually what I do just out of habit, but if I have this like this, now again, I'm not doing anything over here. All I'm doing is just holding the gun. So if I hold the gun and I don't mess with this lever at all, if I pull the slide back and release that pressure that's pushed up against that slide lock, watch the slide lock. See how it just falls down into place? Now, I can just let it go, zips right back home again. So it's locked into place, pull it back, release the tension, slide lock falls right back down into the frame again, and now the slide can go home. So those are two different ways you can do that. Push the button, or this is called monkey gripping it. I don't know if even that's a real thing, but that's what I've heard it called before. You grab a hold of it back here, again staying away from the chamber so it doesn't bite you and really piss you off. Grab a hold of the slide, pull it back, let it go. Zip it back, let it go. Zip it back, let it go. That's what you're trying to do, right? Just all one smooth motion. That's how you do it the easiest way. So that is pretty much how you manipulate a pistol. Now, one more thing I want to show you. This might be in the class. I don't know if it will be or not, but it's kind of important to know, and it's how to clear malfunctions in your gun, okay? So I'm going to set up a malfunction, and yes, I'm going to do it with live ammo, with real bullets, but I'll show you how to clear it safely, and a little trick that works like 99% of the time. Doesn't matter what kind of malfunction it is, it almost always works. I can't say 100% of the time, but I've never seen a malfunction that this didn't fix it, okay? And it's real quick and simple. I'll show you. So, what I have here is an empty gun. I'm going to lock the slide back to the rear. I'm going to insert a loaded magazine without chambering a bullet. Now, I'm going to put a bullet in here, kind of at an angle, and I'm going to release the slide. Now, what happened there was the slide, and this happens if you have you ever heard of limp wristing your pistol? What that is you don't have a straight line with your wrist. You're not high enough on the gun to allow for that slide to zip back and forth freely and smoothly and quickly. Instead, what's happening is you're down too low, and your gun, the recoil is pushing your gun up, and the slide, due to gravity and everything else, is not functioning the way it should, and it's not getting enough momentum to clear the first bullet out, the empty shell casing out, and grab a new bullet and push it in. And this is usually what you end up with. This is called a double feed. Okay, so I have a bullet that's kind of lodged in the chamber, and I have one down below. The second bullet that you see that's deeper is actually picked up by the slide and trying to go into the chamber, but it's colliding with this one. That's called a double feed, okay? Very common malfunction. It happens often. It's one among like 3 or 4 typical malfunctions, but to clear all of them, this is all you gotta do. It's called tap rack. My gun malfunctioned. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, it stopped working. What I'm gonna do? Tap the magazine, jam it in, grab the slide, rack the slide. And what that does is it pushes the magazine straight up and crams that new bullet up to be ready to be grabbed. You rack the slide and it throws whatever junk is stuck in the gun out of the gun, and then picks up that new bullet and sends it straight home again. That's basically what happens. So I'm going to tap and rack. Boom. Cleared the malfunction, and now I have a new bullet in there ready to go. It happens every time. That's how you typically fix a malfunction. If you're shooting and it stops working, well, I still have ammo, my gun's broken, tap, rack, and it'll clear the malfunction every time. You'll spit that bad bullet out, and you'll grab a new one and throw it right back in the chamber again. Tap, rack, bang is what it's called. So that's how you clear malfunction. Now, again, safety, empty my magazine, bullet, look inside for an empty chamber, nothing in there. And if I were wearing a holster right now instead of gym shorts, I would holster my gun just like that. That's all there is to it. So, hope it helped, and have a good night.